What's up, guys? It's Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down one of the best wide receiver moves you can use at the top of the route. So we're going to be talking about the mechanics of the movement, when to actually use it, and the 3 best coverage scenarios and routes to use this move on. So I hope this video helps you guys out. Hope it teaches you a few new things about route running and how you guys can create some separation. But also, fellas, if you're a wide receiver and you want to come get some work in with us this offseason, we have 2 more opportunities that we are going to be hosting for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver training camp. So next up on our camp list, we're going to be coming out to Salt Lake City, Utah, and then to finish off the year, we will be coming out to Los Angeles, California. So we just got back from Nashville, Tennessee. Any of you guys that came out to that, we heavily appreciate it. A lot of talent in Nashville, and we really appreciate the support. We're having 2 more, fellas, so if you guys want to come out, get some work in with myself and my staff of coaches, we would love to have you. Check out that very first link below. Let's get started with this video. So the move that we are going to be talking about today is going to be called a rocker step. So I'm sure some of you are familiar of it, but maybe not familiar with the exact technique and when to use it. That's what we're going to talk about today. So for those of you that aren't familiar, what is a rocker step? So a rocker step, this is a corner route, right? This is Jerry Jeudy running a corner. So you're lined up on the right side of the field. Visualize that. Imagine that. You're on the right side of the field and you have to run a corner. Normally, what foot would you break off of? You'd break off of your left. So instead of just breaking off the left foot, you would go a double cut at the top, as I like to say, rocker step. That's what people call it. And you would break with your right foot first. So it would be like a 1-2. The last step would still be with the left foot, same as usual, but you're trying to sell the post. So that's what Jeudy does right here. So you see when he's coming up, you want to step in the direction that you are going first. So you step with the right foot. We're trying to make it look like a post, and then I put my foot in the ground and just essentially catch myself at the top of this break. So for a corner route, you would step like you're on the right side of the field. You would go right, then left. And then like, let's say you were running a post route, you would go left, then right. A good way to not get confused, you want to step in the direction that you are going first. Okay, so now, what are the mechanics of this movement? So when you guys do this movement, when you guys do this 1-2, it's got to be 2 hard cuts. That 1-2 that Jeudy throws right here, everything about it has to look like a post. So when you guys are running a post route off of just 1 cut, that hard cut, the cut that you break off of, whether it's like your 3rd outside, your 4th outside, maybe it's at 12 yards, it's a hard cut. You're putting that foot in the ground. So that's what we have to make it look like to get this DB to bite. It is 2 hard cuts. So he goes 1 and then 2. Now, the thing about this rocker step is that your feet have to be explosive, but they have to be in stride. So many wide receivers will get up to the top of this rocker and they'll do this 1-2, but the 2 steps are almost in place. It's like they're cutting their stride down. They're slowing themselves down and they do that 1-2, but it moves laterally. Fellas, you guys got to make it look like you're running in stride. So when you do this 1-2, like Jeudy does, he goes 1 and look at his second step, full stride. Now, when we do these full stride steps, obviously a DB is not supposed to be looking there. That's just to give you smoothness to the break, but also help you keep it fluid. Because when you guys shorten your stride and try to do that 1-2 in place almost, DB's going to run into you, DB will get hands on you, or he's just going to break on the route if he's in off coverage. So you have to make sure you keep it in stride to keep the fluidity and the smoothness of the break. Now, a DB, like I said, is not looking at your feet. Where is he supposed to be watching? He's supposed to be watching your hips, right? This DB's eyes are a little high looking at the upper half, but a disciplined DB or a more disciplined DB on this rep will be watching our hips. So when I do that 1-2, you want to think of it like your upper body above your waist is extremely loose. That's why it's super important for wide receivers to stretch and have a loose upper body and have mobility up there. Because when you guys throw this cut, you see how Jeudy, his hips and shoulders are completely turned to that first cut. And then when he breaks back to the post, hips and shoulders are completely turned on the post break to sell the actual route. The upper half has to be loose when you do that 1-2 on a rocker step. Okay, so I hope that makes sense, fellas. I hope you get the mechanics of the movement. So now, what are some of the best situations to use the rocker step? And that's what we're going to be talking about right now. So now, obviously in this clip, Jeudy is running a corner route. So he's using it when he re-stacked the defender. So let's say, for example, right? So Jeudy's off the line, DB takes away the outside release. Ideally on a corner, we would love to take an outside release. But he takes an inside release, right? Completely fine. You guys should be comfortable running any route with an inside or an outside release. So now, when he takes this inside release and he gets over the top of him, if this DB runs hip to hip with him and he's right next to him, you would not use the rocker step because there's no point. There's no point in you using the rocker step if you're right on his hip. what you would want to do is you would want to throw by. So you'd want to swat his shoulder, swat his hip, and slip under him on the corner. But now, since we were able to actually restack, that's when I could use the rocker step. When this DB is trailing us by a step, doesn't even have to be directly behind us, but when he is trailing us, that is when we could use it. Because now I could actually sell like I'm going to run a post, actually step in full stride, and use my upper half to make this movement. So a rocker step is a great move to use when you restack a defender and you have to run a route like a post, a corner, an out route, or a dig route. Those are the 4 that I like it on, and that is pretty much it, fellas. I don't like it on a 5-yard out. I don't like it on a 5-yard in. I don't like it on anything but those 4 routes. Let's play this thing again full speed, and then we'll talk about 2 more scenarios versus off coverage and zone coverage of how you can use a rocker step. This is a textbook example here from Judy, working that 1-2 at the top of the break, or better known as the rocker step. Now, one other thing, fellas, could you use a triple step? So let me ask you this. If you guys were at the top of that corner and you wanted to use a triple step, instead of just going right, left, you would go left, right, left. But again, it's a little bit more advanced and it can take a little bit long. So just make sure you are wise when you use that. A good wide receiver to look up maybe to check out some of his moves when he does that triple rocker step would be Cooper Kupp. He does a lot of those and he combines the 2. He has a single cut, a rocker step, and a triple rocker step. So again, if you want to check out that move, maybe you're a little bit more on the advanced side of things, I definitely recommend it. Okay, so now, what's another situation we could use a rocker step? And that would be attacking a DB's leverage. So let's play this thing full speed. So this is that route that everybody's seen here from Davis in the, I believe this is the AFC Championship, if I'm not mistaken, but it was a playoff game last year, one of the best games I've ever seen. So we got a DB who's an outside leverage off man coverage. So obviously, why is he outside shape? He's trying to protect the outside. In this specific scenario, this was 3rd or 4th down, I believe. And what do teams like to run when it's 3rd or 4th down? They like to run a lot of out routes, just put the ball right on the sideline. My receiver catches it, he gets out of bounds. So he's outside leverage. He wants to protect his leverage. He wants to force this wide receiver inside. So if I have to run like a post route, for example, another great route you use the rocker step on, and I have that outside leverage coverage, I just can't go run the route. I can't just come off the line and just go try to run it because that's exactly what he wants because he's outside leverage. That means he has help inside. He wants you to go run to the help. He wants to get hands on you and force you all the way inside. So we use something called a rocker step, like we've been talking about, to threaten his leverage. So when we get up to the top of the break, you see how this wide receiver, he steps in the direction he's going first. So that's 1. His upper half sells. You see hips and shoulders, catching himself with the other step. And both of those steps, fellas, are in stride. And you see, that threatens the DB. When he is watching my hips, fellas, and I can sell with my hips and shoulders, that is what will get the DB to bite every time. It's more than just a head and shoulder lean. It's more than just 2 quick steps. It is full 2 steps right in stride to get that DB to settle to the outside. And again, we use that to threaten him, but also so I have more space to catch this ball before that safety help comes over the top and makes a play. If we just go run the route, take what he gives me, you're going to run right into coverage. But if you go attack him and you threaten him with that rocker step, this is a great situation to use it, you will get space. Same idea as if, let's say, for example, instead of outside leverage, we had inside leverage off man. So you would want to attack his leverage. You hit a 1-2, threaten him to the inside, and then bam, you could break out on an out route, a corner route, and what foot would you step with? You'd step with your left foot in this case because you'd want to step to the side that you are going. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. This is a textbook example here from Davis using that rocker step to get that DB to widen. All right, so now this is how you guys can use a rocker step against like kind of a zone coverage look. Okay, so we got a DB who's off. Keenan Allen is going to be running a fade route. So this rocker step is a great way to get a DB to bite when he's in off coverage and you have to run a fade route. Some people would consider this a vertical set, and I think they both go hand in hand. A vertical set is more of like 1 step. I consider this a rocker step because Allen takes 2 steps at the top of the break. If you call it a vertical step, it's not necessarily wrong, but it is the same mechanics as a rocker step, okay? So if you think of it as a rocker step, that's completely fine too. Let's play this thing again, or let's play this thing full speed, I should say. So he comes off, hits the 1-2, gets that DB to bite inside, and then is able to create space to the outside. So when you got a DB who's in zone, and he is here, and this is another great situation to use this, and you have to run a fade, and he's off like this, we can't just try to run around him, because his sole purpose in this coverage, whether it's like cover 3, cover 4, is to protect the deep third, the deep fourth of the field. So he will not let you get behind him. So many wide receivers just try to run around and they think, oh, I'm going to get to his blind spot. That DB will not give it up that easy. I'm just going to be honest with you. He's going to widen with you. He's going to stack you, and he's going to pretty much run over the top of you the entire time. So that quarterback either has to throw it back shoulder, or if he puts it over the top, DB will probably pick the ball off. So as a wide receiver, I need to understand that. You need to understand how DBs think, how DBs will play, and why they play a certain way. So when we come off the line, this rocker step is a great way to threaten him. Obviously, you're running to the outside, so what foot do you want to step with first? Your right foot. So you step with the right foot, you throw with the left foot, and you see it's that 1-2. And what does his upper half do? Hips and shoulders sell. Now, I know this DB isn't looking at him because it's zone. But again, when he's in zone and he's got his eyes to the QB, he's got his eyes to the number 2 receiver, when they throw that 1-2, they are going off of feel. So if you can step far, if you can sell, if you have some speed getting into him and you throw your upper half with that 1-2 to the inside, that makes the DB think it's going to be a post, a dig, some kind of route crossing his face, which will make him more likely to jump. He's playing you out of the corner of his eye. So if you can make him uncomfortable by running at him, running in full stride, not chopping your stride, and selling with the upper half to the inside, that will get the DB to settle, and we could easily slip behind and win on that fade route. So that's another situation you could use that rocker in. You could use the rocker when you restack on those 4 routes I gave you. You could use it against off-man outside shade or inside shade, and you could use it against zone to sell that post route, to sell maybe an out route the opposite way to get the DB to widen and slip back underneath. So again, fellas, that's one of the best moves. Every single wide receiver, I feel, needs to have this in their toolbox to be able to use. Let's play this thing again, full speed one more time. Great job by Allen. Sell him with that rocker step that he's running a post. Get that DB to crash, and then win over the top. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If this helped you guys out, we're glad that it could give you some value. We're glad this channel helps you guys improve your skills. And if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate. Leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback from you guys. We read every single comment, or we try to, and we really appreciate it. And again, fellas, if you would like to come out to one of our last 2 off-season camps that we have remaining, we are coming out to Salt Lake City, Utah, and Los Angeles, California for our final 2 camps. So check out that very first link in the description below. I'll see you guys next time.